Hi, I wanted to make a short video on setting up a table view and coloring the cells in sort of a rainbow or, series of colors. So I'm going to start here with a single view application. So I'm in Xcode, and I'm going to use Swift as a language, and we'll call this colored cells. Okay? And I'll save my project into this folder here. And I'll just race through setting up the table view. So let's go to our view controller, and I'm going to change the size here to a smaller size just to save some room. And then we'll add a UI TableView instance to the view, and I'm going to drag it so it snaps to the center and the four edges there, and then we'll add the missing constraints here with this little button there with the triangle, right? So it says auto layout issues, and then I'll choose add missing constraints. Okay, so that should pin the four sides. So if for different sized iPhone devices, the table view will stretch to fill. And then we'll add one table view cell, and this cell, let's set it to the basic cell type and give it a reuse identifier of cell, C-E-L-L, lowercase. Okay? And so now let's set up our IB outlet. So I'm going to control click on the table view, and you'll see I got the connections inspector here, and I'm going to connect the data source and delegate to the view controller. Okay, so there we go. So those are connected, and now we can get to work. So now that we're, the data source and the delegate for the table view, let's set ourselves up as a UI table view data source and a UI table view delegate. Okay, and this means we need to conform to the table view data source delegate methods. So we've got to set table view number of rows in section. Okay, so we have to implement this method. I'm just gonna make 36 rows, and then we'll type in table view, and what we need here is we need cell for row at index path. Okay, so cell for row at index path. And now we need to make a cell. So I'll say cell equals, table view dot DQ reusable cell with identifier, and our cell identifier was cell. And this needs to be cast to a UI table view cell. Okay, and then we'll return the cell, and then that should get rid of our error here. Okay, so now we're all set. So this should generate 36 empty cells. Do a quick test there. And there's our cells, right? So why don't we put some text in the cell? So we'll say cell.textLabel.text equals, how about cell, and then we'll put the index path in there too, just for fun. So there's the cell for row index path row, and now let's set the color. So to do the color, I'm going to make a hue, right? So this is going to be part of our color component, and I want to calculate the hue by the number of rows, and hue goes around the color circle from red to red. So it goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, magenta, and then red again, right? And that's in a range of 0 to 1, I think. So what I want to do is I want to take, and I'm going to do this as a CG float, right? So what I want to do is I want to take the number of rows that we have and divide it into the index path. Okay, so I'm going to take the index path here, dot row, so that's which row number we're at, and I want to divide by a CG float, which is the number of rows that we have, which in my case is 36. Okay? And then we want to make a color. So let's say let color equal UI color. And then the type of color I want to use is hue, saturation, brightness. Now it will be hard to do this with an RGB color, right? Because it's hard to cycle through the colors by mixing the red, green, and blue values, right? But if we do hue, saturation, brightness, then we can just set the hue here to the hue value that we have, and then saturation and brightness, they can just be 1, right? So, or whatever value you want to use, right? Because they can be fixed, right? So, so we'll do that, and then the last step here is to say cell dot background color equals the color that we created. Okay, so I'll save that and hit the play button here. And there we go. So there's our cells, and if I scroll, you can see it goes all the way around, and this would be red almost, and then it would, circle around to here. And that should work for any number of cells. If you have fewer cells, like if you did 12 cells, the color gradations look a little rougher. Actually it looks like it doesn't quite get around to the purple with just a few cells there. Probably we could work out the math a little better here. It would probably be better to divide 36 into 1 and then multiply by the row number, so we could try that. Let's try that. Let's do, how about n equals 1 divided by 36. Let's make that a decimal, right? And then over here we can say, times n, right? And maybe that'd give us a little more accurate range of colors there. Still, maybe I don't have enough colors there, but anyway, that gets you in the ballpark, right? And if we did more, we could do like 100 rows, right? Oh, I guess my problem is I changed the number of rows here, but I didn't change the 36. That's what my error was, right? So here, we'll try that again. Let's do that with 12 and then 12, right? Either way would work, right? Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. But like I said, that's a little rougher. If you did like 100, what we really should do, right, is, say number of rows equals 100, and then just use the variable, right? But anyway, there's a quick example of using, of setting the colors in your table view. Hey, wait, I forgot to put the number of rows here. Anyway, you guys get the idea, right? So there you go. Hopefully that's useful to somebody. Okay, enjoy. Oh, there we go, right?